Hello. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday. We got to, defend a man that's accused of murder. That's, I don't know, everyone is accused of murder around us. That's kind of weird. So we need to defend this man. But it seems to be not very well engaged for now. We'll see if we can make that better. Okay, oh yeah, we are at the juror's contentions. Examination. Oh, there was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. It's a weird flower. Trust the driver. He has an excellent memory. It seems 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence. Okay. He stuck the chap next to him, just like this, brazen. I must say, absolutely brazen. I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. Oh, you can't trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Oh, the scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Beggars belief? What? I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Wait, he would be already guilty now if we hadn't. Oh, some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. Wow, it's a lot of people. I have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Oh, just a moment, Naruto-san. What is it? According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh. I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Oh, unfortunately. Once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they are unlikely to hear anything the defense says. But then, what's the point of all this? They've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning. You see? Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Okay, so what's the solution to that? Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruto-san. Don't shoot the messenger. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the juror's own words to make your arguments. What? What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding juror against each other. Oh, I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then. This is similar to a regular cross-examination. Yes! I suppose you're right. Find contradiction in the statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. Wait, no. That's not right. I have to pull this off.
Can we start proceedings, Counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord.
Wow. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory. It seems 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
Why, he stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
Have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
Oh, you can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
I have a contradiction here.
Pits.
Okay. Against this one.
Pits. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do? Explain yourself, Counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
Well, I swear on Silver Blaze's name, maiden name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about.
According to the group testimony we've heard so far... Wait, we are behind the thing now? There were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. I like this one. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. Why is there no space? 4 pence, it's a word?
That is it. A fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated.
That doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man? Why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each, if you do the multiplication. Oh! It would be 16 pence. And none the richer. Exactly, as I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
Oh, 1 person's fare!
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Oh, good gracious! Oh, this can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures a coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he left nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, hmm?
Ah, Sato-san. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales.
Oh no, hold your horses then, coachman. We're all in agreement. Why do... Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo.
Ah, nice. We're making progress here.
Ah, this is very irritating. Irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. What? Okay, well, I'll take it.
Oh, for the love of Mike, not you as well.
A penny can be the difference between a smile and tear. After all. Tear. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Naruto-san. You did it. If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' mind, we can force the trial to continue. Oh, 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Oh, then that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they're still way heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
I'm changing my leaning to innocent. I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. Was no one else?
Hey, stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
Just like this. Why does he have a knife, this guy? I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. Okay, that can't be her. Okay.
Beppo, this trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of this corruption. Not guilty, I say.
What a scoundrel! Stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Oh, that's it. That's it.
Objection!
Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel, post haste.
Oh dear me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they all allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3.
What? Can't you see that I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ha! Want to test me, do ya? Was like this. Struck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? Oh, what can you do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now don't move! Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Oh, well, I never... Oh, they're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Oh, bless my stitches. What a muddle.
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh.
But why? What the dickens with the lie?
I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen? In all good conscience?
Oh, lies you say? Oh, dearie me. Oh, I can't abide people telling lies.
Yes.
Oh, the scales.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Ooh.
Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him, in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all.
Damn, those guys are quite racist, huh? Oh, if I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Answer me this, dark jinx.
Me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollection of events?
What of it?
Well, let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus.
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus.
And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, huh?
Who are you calling a dandy, sir?
I should take with this knife to you.
Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. Oh, they're ready to kill each other now. This is good for us. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? I'm pretty sure it's out of the question. This man has been stabbed once. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying with an omnibus. No, that's impossible. It's out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you dark jinx? Come out. Come on, out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
Oh. What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to say. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. Okay. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable, hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by the autopsy report. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Eh? Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Oh yes. Ooh. Wait, that means forgers are now leaning to not guilty. Oh, we've done it, Naruto-san. Naruto-san. We've won. Yatta. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one disagrees me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I'm no liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this rather sharp blade and shave every last hair of his head. Oh, this man is so creepy. Please tell me he's a barber.
Well, in quite a remarkable turn of events, the defense summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate. And the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord Van Seeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
This dude. Wait, he's not drinking? Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Seeks. It's cold in here, or is it just me?
As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honor the deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Wow. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Those guys, really. Witnesses. I trust you heard the submersion examination we have just had to endure.
Oh, yes, sir, that. Oh, I did, sir.
Of course, I heard it.
Oh, yes, sir, I heard it. Oh, you, sir, are on the end of the coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Oh, yes, sir, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh mio Dio.
Is he Italian?
Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
Various misgiving.
Oh, I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it, but.
Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
Oh, he fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling set as well. Oh, it's all too much.
I tell you, I saw Mike Gilder stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, it is. Oh, I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please.
The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousinage. Cousinage? Oh man, this vocabulary is killing me.
Oh. Beppo, explain yourself. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. And am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare?
Oh, it's so cold. On the last run of the day, so it was half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each. Yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently.
No, that figures.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. What, man? Absolutely.
various misgivings. Oh, I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it, madam. I'm gonna press that. So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4p fare. Is that right? It's not very happy. Oh, it's impossible to make the last run of the day. I was so cold. Oh, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. Oh, I'm getting chill brains just listening to you. Oh, me too. Oh, it was terrible, So I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? Oh, you're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger of the omnibus that night, then we would have had another suspect. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5p for the bus.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5p instead of 4? Well, I paid 5p too, so And I told you, and I just told you that I did. Flat fare of 5p across the board. Oh, it's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried. Oh, I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. He filled us on the fare. He did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. Oh, it's all too much.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight? You mean the murder, I presume? Oh, yes, sir. How loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken. Oh well, not exactly, sir. What? I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Wait, what? Oh, good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however. The bank has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. Oh, I heard the bank agent next to me take a sharp intake of breath. See? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. I tell you, some McGill is stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him.
That's what I said, isn't it?
It was bothering me before. This was... For just a brief moment. He hesitated before answering the question.
Anyway, there was only the two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty.
Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just... Charles with me. Wish I could work out what it was. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. Oh, I think so. Yes.
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh yeah, yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in a nice big grip. I suppose. I might have, yes, put the cart before the horses, maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving with the horses when I heard a scream from the seat on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Oh, then when I turned around, yeah, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. Oh, yes. So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? Oh, when you put it like that, I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, oh no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I? Hey, what's wrong, man?
Excuse me.
You have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. I didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Hey?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? What did he wait, what did he say? I know what you... now listen to me, I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Some days are like that. You know, you see, you don't see. It's not up to you. Well, I suppose some days are like that. Sooner or later you'll see something you wish you hadn't. Is you're always peeping through a skylight in the top of the omnibus? Peeping? Ah, I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. A Ballarat? Man, it was... well, it was a grim scene. I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, Mr. Lord. My lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful, as they did before. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Oh yes, you're so right. You could say you're Phoenix right. I need to pay careful attention there. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Oh, remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. We go for okay. Well, I for one was okay. You should look on the fire. Oh yeah. Tell you something good disturbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, yeah. Oh, I think so. Don't you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed a man? I think there's something weird about that. Because they're not very soaked, those hands.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands.
Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question.
Oh yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark color stain here. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right hand glove.
Ah!
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
Ah! But, no! That can't be right! Oh, so you're the liar here then? Ah. That's right, you're quite clear about it. You said, it was both hands.
Oh man, it's pretty, I don't know, he's losing it. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it was in both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. A standing member of society, don't prevaricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Naruhodo-san, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in this testimony. We have evidence. My lord.
Oh, yes, counsel?
The defense is ready to present evidence.
Oh, by Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in this testimony.
Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness' alleged deception of the court.
The debtor ledger. Yeah.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded.
Yes, a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused extortion.
The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Oh, Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, it's very worthy of being called a debt.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, would you say?
Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
This document states that a loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant?
Order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious complications upon your future, sir. Did you, or did you not, see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Did you?
He's now on his cane.
When you put it like that.
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
All right, now let's not make a melodrama out of this.
Perhaps I did
overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGildy's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which you have here as evidence, is stained.
Ah, so you keep saying.
What is it first? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself. As it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think. Oh, yeah. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What?
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Look at me in the eyes.
Naruto-san, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Ooh. More testimony. What the witnesses really saw.
Oh, there was blood on both hands of the assailants. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
Oh, I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard a scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen them.
Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. Oh, I apologize, my lord, but honestly...
There was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there's no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. What the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that.
Hold it!
No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves that the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Because maybe he saw it. Your reasoning is dire. Huh?
One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. Ah, but for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. I was just trying to save us all time. Sometime.
You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from the financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty?
That's not entirely, no, what I was hoping for. Oh. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby. That's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture in weekend that's a sure thing. Sure thing.
A little guinea or 10?
I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend.
I think you may have revealed a rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir.
This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness.
Oh, is that really how it's supposed to work? Oh, I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Oh yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded gloves has any sign of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir.
He wasn't wearing these gloves?
Oh, that's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark color stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see.
I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilded gloved hands.
There wasn't blood on his hands? This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow. I'm sure of it.
Can we add that to the court record now?
Oh, I didn't actually see anything myself. No, I didn't hear. I heard that scream.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything? Oh yeah, sir. That is... no, sir. I didn't. very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stop the man. Would you agree, sir?
I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it?
Oh, no, sir. I saw nothing at all.
Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London Street, no? What? Oh, please. You didn't even see that?
Oh, it was so cold that night, you see. Oh, it was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Oh, yeah, yes, my head was very frozen solid, sir. Sorry to say, sir.
It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London cold winter nights.
Beppo! Oh!
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh, yes. I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right. It's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play.
Oh, yes. I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just stood at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't looking down. I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say.
Oh, I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Oh, no! I suppose they would have had a bird's-eye view from the roof. Oh, I didn't see I had to choose something. Oh, come on now. And birds generally have very keen eyesight, so...
Thank you. That's all clear. What you said does make sense.
Very good. Continue with the cross-examination, Counsel. Oh, Mr. Fabley didn't see Mr. Mason being stabbed at all. That's a hugely significant change in the facts of the case.
There's something else that occurred to me whilst listening to the witnesses' latest testimony. Two of them are recounting what they saw through the skylights of the omnibus roof.
Oh, I know it's a large window and certainly affords a good view of the inside, but... Well, I think perhaps we ought to confirm that what they're saying with your... with our own eyes as much as possible.
What do you mean?
I mean that we can examine the evidence firsthand. The omnibus is here, in the courtroom after all.
Well, that's a good idea. And we can consider the witness's statement while we were looking around. While we were looking around. Okay, so what do you say? Can examine that and look at the skylight.
You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Oh yes, and there's a lamp inside the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly.
That's not good for us though. But you can't see the faces of those people. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? The scene of a murder, it's horrible. Uh-huh.
The seat has a handle, it seems.
Yeah.
This looks like all sort of equipments that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tool. So, it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep these things, it seems. Well, there doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow the luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway.
I don't know what I'm supposed to see here.
It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Oh yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck.
And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description.
So I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least.
Oh, can it be opened from the outside?
You seen enough?
Okay.
Oh, it can be opened from the outside. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure.
Okay. It can be opened from the outside. Oh.
Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Oh, Mr. Faber doesn't see Mr. Mason being stabbed at all. Security significance is the fact of the case. There's something else I can... Two of them are recounting there's a sort of the skylight in the omnibus roof. No, it's a large window, but certainly afford a good view on this side, but, well, I think perhaps you ought to confirm everything with your own eyes. That's possible, what do you mean?
I think there could have been someone in there.
Don't care about that. It's a good moment, okay. I remember seeing the knife and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hand, okay. Didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I had the screen. Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage or we all would have seen it. I think we have to present the carriage. Me can't be anything else. Can I present something? I don't think I can.
Objection.
Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You are riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
Oh, by golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection.
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well, as I would uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Where exactly? Exactly here.
Take that.
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers of the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've shown here.
Oh.
That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker was sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on the seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Oh.
Objection.
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Your Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity.
Eh? I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In the British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel.
What?
That is, unless you are able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruto-san? No. I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Ah, I have an inkling. It must be Mr. Mac something? I forgot his name. Wait, what's his name? McGibdit. Ah. I have an inkling. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name.
You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned.
Let us not delay, Counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
Oh, this could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... let's do it. Magnus McGilded. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded.
McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
How many glasses does he have? If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed callous, do you forgive the discourtesy?
Lord Van Siegs.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. Oh, this dude is getting on my nerves. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
Exactly my point. But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Oh yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailants. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night. A third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit.
Oh, extraordinary. Order! 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 So what exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated what they saw, that they saw the accused.
Objection.
But when elaborating on this testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes.
The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Oh yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter?
The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin.
How can you be sure?
Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled.
Huh. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGillet would have been unaware of it.
Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGillet, to the stand.
Oh well, that's... What say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what ground?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. Ruffian? If it indeed turns out the man had been withholding information, you can be sure it would have been a most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGillet to testify or not? Wow. Do we do it? Oh, I don't know. I think we should, though. Because we're not going to have anything else if we don't do it. Okay, let's do it. And then it's going to be the end of that because we're going to have to go to bed. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGildy to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Oh, yes. There's time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGildy has to say. Get the man out here, I say. Get the man out here, I say. Oh, it would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run my things as the guild.
Oh, hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury said the man must be heard. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Ooh. Man, this is tense. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. He said he was sleeping, if I remember correctly. Okay, we're gonna save here for today. Man, this is so... Wow. So many twists. But pretty confident we're gonna be able to save this guy. Alright, well, thanks for being here tonight. You know, with the new variant, you should stay safe, take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.